step, hey, school gakko, school gakko, 알아놓고 school gakko, school gakko, 알아놓고 야, 자긴 자긴.
What you have witnessed is chaotic as well. It is the performance from ATARASHII GAKKO. I got to know this group thanks to YouTube algorithm while I was scrolling through videos. I was immediately hooked by the performance and the style. ATARASHII GAKKO is a group that started in 2015. And just from the group name alone, it already exhibits how they work as a team. In Japanese, the name is ATARASHII GAKKO no Leaders. The direct translations of the name is New School Leaders, but the word no sounds like no in English. So another name of the group is also called ATARASHII GAKKO no Leaders. Right off the bat, it already shows the group dynamic through the wordplay of the name. Because officially speaking, there is no leader from this J-pop group. Everyone is their own leader. That means Suzuka, Rin, Mizyu, and Kanon take an equally important role in the team. This is why when you look at the social media account, everyone has a name leader at the back. The best way to illustrate the group dynamic is a quote from Kanon. I think it is very important to have a sense of pride within yourself. Like, this is definitely the way to do it. However, when we are in a group, I don't think we should have pride over others, such as I want to be in the front here. This is something I have felt very much since we have started being leaders. This shows how the group choose to express and compliment each other during the performance. But don't get twisted by this quote and think that this means no one gets to shine and every performance they have works within the Japanese traditional sense of group unity. This totally is not the case here. For example, in the song Love Breaker, only Suzuka and Mizyu have the chance to sing, while Rin and Kanon just work as dancers. And it is not like they split up the performance into a 50-50 way. Suzuka and Mizyu just sing, Rin and Kanon just dance. In Love Breaker, Mizyu and Suzuka would also participate in the dance performance. Sometimes they might even dedicate the whole song for just one person to sing. You might be thinking, then in what shape or form does this align with Kanon's own quote? It seems like there exists the notions of, I want to be in the front here. However, you also need to remember the first part of the quote. I think it is important to have a sense of pride within yourself, like, this is definitely the way to do it. The focus of the quote should be pride and the way to do it. My interpretations of the quote from Kanon is that, do not just take pride in your own dancing and singing skill. Rather, you should also be proud of yourself on your own performance, even when it seems like you are not the focus. When some of the members are just dancing at the back, they are not just mere background, but rather it is the fact that we can only see the beauty of fireworks under the darkened sky. It is similar to how a doctor might be important, but so does the street cleaners. It is a form of trust that believe we would take turns and compliment each other when it is needed. And it is also a form of trust that believe sometimes when opportunity comes, we can all shine together. There's no need to get down into the nitty-gritty and ask for a support every single time, because we all have our own strengths and weaknesses. It is the fact that as long as we are all on stage and performing with our hearts, then no one is in the front here. And that is the way to do it. This also brings us to the next part. What is the message of ATARASHII GAKKO? Here's a slogan that they always say in the beginning.
すみません。個性や自由ではみ出していく。はみ出していく。新しい学校のリーダーズボンです。
It roughly translates to, with individuality and freedom, I'm going to stick out. And this opening actually resonates a lot with what I have mentioned. Within the group itself, each member has their own freedom and individuality shown. It is perfectly fine to dedicate a whole song for just one to sing. because ultimately speaking, they will all stick out at the end. But I think this quote also goes deeper than that. You see, there are these words on the socks. This means youth, this means Japan, this means representative. The concept of the group is by dancing and singing joyfully in sailor uniform, they could represent the youth of Japan on how to live strongly and happily in modern societies and go beyond the ordinary. This is important if you understand the Japanese culture. Remember in the opening quote, there is one part that said, "I'm going to stick out." This part is important because there is a proverb in Japan that said,
出る杭は打たれる.
it translates to the nail that stick out gets hammered down. It is a quote that reminds people don't stick out too much. There's a reason for customs and rules. In other words, it tells people in Japan to conform. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Japanese culture, but there is a cultural norm in Japan called
空気を読む.
which kind of translates to read the air. It is another way to say try to read the social situation so that you will not say the wrong things. It is important to know this part of the Japanese culture because as an outsider, you might not know how the Japanese interact with each other with this notion in mind. For example, I'm not sure have you seen any Japanese movie, TV show, or anime about high school. But if you pay attention, you will realize when it comes to lunchtime, people always try to eat together, or invite that one lonely character to join in for lunch. That's because people in Japan find it weird to eat alone. Sometimes, some Japanese care so much about other gays from
空気を読む.
that they feel like they are not conforming to any group if they are eating alone. They would then be the one that is sticking out. So some will choose to eat it in the toilet, some will choose to eat it on the rooftop. And a side note, I'm not sure have you ever been to Japan, but one of the reasons why they try to make the fart smell nice and have a music button on the toilet is because they really care about what others think about them. So now you have this cultural context in mind, it will make you appreciate the carefree performance of ATARASHII GAKKO much more. You can see the performance on stage as youngsters in Japan who want to fan their frustrations and spread their energetic power to the world. But here we need to be careful and not enter into an either-or situation. The focus is not just sticking out for the sake of sticking out and abandon their own tradition in the process. The problem is how to localize each individual uniqueness while maintaining the harmony of unity. I guess a quote from Suzuka said the best. When asked, what are the messages you want to deliver to the world, Suzuka replied, we want to express the essence of Japan and ourselves. As we are the representations of Japanese youth, we want to make people excited and think that Japan is cool. The ATARASHII GAKKO is cool. And when the magazine asked, you guys literally became the representations of Japan, where do you think the charms of the Japanese culture are found? Mizyu replied, recently, I've been thinking that the charm of Japanese people are that they are disciplined to follow, the meticulous rule, living conscientiously and courteously. So even when they say, with individuality and freedom, I'm going to stick out, we have to be careful and realize the individuality and freedom that they are referring to is a synthesized versions from the Japanese culture. Now then, let's see how they choose to execute the performance to spread their message. You can tell from the artwork alone, it screams with this innocent childish joy. I'm not sure does it work on the same way for you, but when the first time I heard the lyrics of Pineapple Kryptonite, I chuckled a bit. There is this part in the song where the lyrics goes as follows. Pineapple Kryptonite, we gotta tell the world. Want to tell the boy I like, but I'm not telling the guy I dislike. I don't know does it work on you the same way it did for me, but when I heard the last part, but I'm not telling that guy I dislike, it just sounds so childish, so silly. It is so random and out of nowhere that I can surely imagine a teenager has this thought once in their life. And when it comes to their performance, their dance move alone already speak such volume. You know how people would say a good character design is one that you can recognize it just from the silhouette. For me, I think this rule also worked in a similar fashion in this situation. Because of copyright reason, I cannot show you the way they sing. But it is also exactly because of that It gives us time to appreciate the craftsmanship when it comes to how they dance. Just from the way they dance, without even hearing the song, you can already guess what they are aiming for. The genre of the song is definitely not some form of slow jazz or hip-hop style of music. And from the dance move alone, you can already sense the absurdity and the energy. It perfectly encapsulates the exuberant vibe of what it means to be youthful. And please don't misunderstand the dance move as a way to cover the lack of skill, because they definitely know how to dance. They started to dance since they were small. And this also brings us to the final topic, growth. What represents the idea of youthfulness more than growth? A state of constant learning and self-discovery. To illustrate what I mean, I think it is important to talk about their age. The oldest member in ATARASHII GAKKO is 24 years old. The youngest one is 21. So they are still young. It seems to be perfectly fine to represent the youthfulness of Japan. But here's the thing. The group was formed in 2015. So the oldest member would just be 16 years old when it was formed. So when they dress up with a sailor uniform, they are not joking. It really was their school uniform. When they express the problem that they face in the song about growing up, they could be hinting at the real-life experience. With this in mind, I want to especially focus on the statement that Suzuka has said.
We express the greatness of enjoying life with entire body. Entire body.
She said ATARASHII GAKKO expressed the greatness of enjoying life with their entire body. You can totally sense that from the way they use their body. But it's not always like this. Just look at the opening greeting as an example. It can be crazy and all over the place. But it wasn't always like this. What you are seeing right now is one of the earliest greetings back in 2015. And you can tell there's just this sense of stiffness and rigid form to their body. It is not really to express the greatness of enjoying life with the entire body that Suzuka was talking about. This is because, just like being any artist, learning is part of the process, and there's nothing more youthful than that. And throughout this video, you might have seen how crazy Suzuka can be. But this is not what she was at the start. At the very beginning, when she was on different TV shows, she would be the quiet one and seldom speak. And I'm not sure you can recognize what you are watching right now, but the girl that you are seeing is Suzuka. You could totally tell she could choose to be normal. But as she grows up, she got to accept the quirky nature of herself, and in return, she becomes an individual and found her freedom. To quote Suzuka, when I first joined the company, I was working on building up my confidence, trying to make my talent visible. There was a time when I was guarding myself and struggling to protect myself, even against the members. But throughout the experience and the time I spent there, my mind became simpler and simpler, and I gained confidence. So I was able to honestly express my love. I realized that in order to understand each other, it is important to talk a lot about how you feel and to share time together.
The first thing I noticed about all of you is that your energy is incredible.
Incredible.
Where does that come from?
何から来てる?
Right here?
Maybe in heart or heart? Energy is here.
Okay.
And there's this very interesting moment when Suzuka was having an interview that just clicked everything together in my mind. When being asked,
自分らしく生きるためには
she just replied,
自分らしく生きるためには自分の中にある彩りをよく覗くことです。
This reminds me of a video that I made earlier. In that video, I talk about a book that is called Ongoing. You might not understand what I'm talking about if you haven't seen it, so go and watch it and come back. But I think I might have missed a few final chapters. Because in the epilogue, the boys three met the cryptozoologist again. And this time, her reaction changed. She said to the boys, "You have done it. I've never seen this color before. What have you changed?" The boy simply replied, I cry when I'm sad. I laugh when I'm happy.
皆さんにとって大人とは何ですか？
大人でも迷うことってあるんですか？迷ってるんですか先生？迷うことは悪いことじゃない。迷うからこそ見つかる自分がいるんです。その自分を信じ続けて突き進む、それこそが青春なんです。前はどうだし
ATARASHII GAKKO no leaders!
です。
So that's the end of the video. Remember to like, share and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Bye.